Kia Bia, where you at? Where you at? Kia Bia.
That's me. Kia Bia. That's me.
Kia Bia.
Yeah, that's me. What's up, Kia Bia gang? Welcome back to another episode of Zakia Chanel Podcast. It is your girl, Kia Bia, and we are back again, y'all. So this is episode 9. Let's get straight into it. So y'all already know how we do. We're going to start with our praise break. If you're new, welcome. Our praise break is just something that's been going good in our life. What's been going on good in our life? What's something that we're thankful for that, you know, we got to take time to give us a praise break and say, this is going good. So for me, I would say I got two different praise breaks. My first one I would say is I did my first 5K run. So your girl is a bitch. Anyway, so earlier in the year, maybe around March, I would say, on my AKA group chat that I'm on Facebook, they posted there and said, you know, there's a 5K run that's going on for Detroit Riverfront. And so I'm like, I always wanted to do these type of runs, like a 5K, 10K type thing, because, you know, your girl used to be a track star back in the day. So I'm like, you know, let's do it. And I was like, I don't know. So, you know, I asked my line sisters, I asked like my friends if anybody wanted to participate, and I also told my dad about it, because me and my dad, like, we do everything together. Like, that's my twin. So I'm like, Pops, you want to do this 5K run? Of course he down for it. He like, yeah, go ahead, like, you know, register, put us in, go ahead, do all of that. So I'm not gonna lie, I could have trained way better than I did. Like, this time was pretty trash, to be honest, but I still did good. Like, I was doing my regular workout, and then every week I would try to run at least once a week around my block and do a 3-mile type run, just to prep my body so I can know how I feel and, you know, how often I had to walk and everything, because I didn't want to be falling out, because I just wasn't sure. I just did not know. So anyway, to just, you know, cut the story short, we did our 5K run. My line sister T also came, so it was the 3 of us, and we had so much fun, y'all. I placed like 217, but out of 700 people, y'all. So, you know, I was in the 200s. I did pretty decent. So next year I'm planning on doing it again, definitely, and I'm gonna actually train a lot better than I did this time, for sure, because I want to be up there in 50 and above, you know what I'm saying? So we gonna make it happen. It's not as bad as I thought it was. And then my other praise break would be, I want to just shout out my therapist. Like, my therapist is the one. Like, she is just everything. She really does, like, push me outside of things I don't want to talk about, or that I did not know there was something behind. And so I just want to take the time to just say thank you to her, and for God, you know, using her in a way that he wants to use her to, you know, get to me and to just, you know, open up my eyes to different things. So that is my 2 praise breaks. You know, let me know what your praise break is. Drop it down, follow me on social media, let me know what your praise break is for the week. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode. Episode 9 is called Close Your Eyes, and I did like a little subtitle type thing with it. So it's called Close Your Eyes, Be With Yourself. And you're probably like, what, girl? Close your eyes, be with yourself? What are we talking about? So, you know, earlier this week I was watching my good sis, Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts. I love watching her sermons on YouTube, and so I was watching her sermon, and it was called Blessed, Blind, Broken. Y'all, the title by itself. Okay, so sis was like going through everything. She said so much, but you know, with me, when I think about what I want to talk about on my podcast and everything like that, it's usually something that's connected to a conversation I had, something I'm watching, something that happened in my own life, something. And so while I was watching it, she started talking about being blind. And she was like, oftentimes when we're thinking about being blind, we're thinking about somebody blind, and that's it. You can't see. But oftentimes, you know, in life, a lot of us are walking through life blind, but you know, we still have eyesight, we still can see, but we can't fully see. We're blind to reality, or we're blind to what we should know, and our connection with different things in our life. And so she's like, sometimes, you know, we just walk through life blind. And I'm like, dang, that's kind of deep, low key, because half of us do walk around blind. And blind could be a good or bad thing, you know. Blind to the fact that you're not seeing reality, you're not seeing what's in front of you and what's going on in your life, and that's bad. Or it could be a good blind where God is forcing you to not see things around you. He's blinding you to certain things because he wants you to himself. He needs you right now with just you and him, so that he can get to you whatever the message or whatever he needs to get to you. So there's a good and bad blind. And so in her message, she was saying, you know, that we're just blind to everything. And so I'm like, dang, like, what about if, you know, we just closed our eyes? You know, I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh, that's what my podcast is gonna be about, is close your eyes. Because when you're blind, we talk about we can't see. So if you're not truly blind, you close your eyes to kind of get a sense of what someone blind may be going through, what, you know, what their day-to-day is. You are blind, you have your eyes closed, you're not seeing anything around you, and it makes you have to force yourself to push out of what your norm is of knowing everything. You have to get into a deeper understanding of yourself and your thoughts, your mind. Everything has to work together when you're blind, because it forces you to have to trust yourself more, forces you to have to trust God more and where he's taking you, the things that are not seen yet. And then also you have to have a different sense. Like, you have to start using more of your senses. You know, as we're able to see different things, we don't use all of our senses as much. And when you're blind, it forces you to use different parts of yourself that you did not know that you had. And so it pushes you, it expands you into something new, something different, something that you're not comfortable or used to. And that's good, because we want to be stretched, we want to expand in life. We don't want to be the same old, we don't want to be normal, we don't want to just be doing the same thing all the time. And so I'm like, what do I want to talk about within this? And I'm be honest, like, so many different things were running through my head that I'm like, okay, I could talk about this in so many aspects, but I still don't even know. We about to see where it's about to go. But there's different things that just kind of popped in my head of what was going on, because it hit home for me. Because I'm a person where I'm just starting out to be able to be alone, like by myself. Like, when I go places, when I do things, I always want someone with me. And so now I have been able to just go places or do things by myself and don't feel weird about it or anything like that. And so it forces you to think, like, are you okay with yourself? Like, do you like yourself? Like, me, do you like yourself? You know, you have to ask those questions, because if you don't like to be by yourself, then that means you don't like you. And that means that you need to figure out some stuff. Like, why don't you like to be by yourself? And it could be a lot, you know, a lot of reasons why you don't like to be by yourself. So I had to think about it, like, why don't I like to be alone? Like, why do I want people around me all the time, or to go with me doing different things? And so now I realize, like, I'm cool to be by myself. Like, I'm cool to be around. And being by myself and going places, it has allowed me to see, like, that when you are by yourself, I don't want to move so fast with this, so much, y'all, in my brain. But when you're by yourself, we tend to act different than we do when we are around people. And I'm moving fast. I'm gonna have to backtrack, but that's okay. Bear with me. Sometimes we act different around ourselves than we do around other people. So for instance, when I'm by myself, right, I love to like have a full-blown concert. Like, I be feeling like I'm Beyonce, like I am on top of the world, right? I can have a full concert in my room and just pour out my heart, singing, whatever the case is, and I'm totally fine. And the reason is because I'm not in my own head. I'm free. I'm just living life. And oftentimes when we're around people, we aren't truly ourselves because we're thinking about what this person may be thinking about me, or what would they think if I did this, or would they still like me? Do they want to be around me anymore? You know, you start to ask yourself all of these questions. No matter how much somebody say they're themselves around someone, it's always a little something that you hold back around somebody, because you have that thought in the back of your head. Like, we all have that thought in the back of our head that says, what could this person be thinking about me? But when we are by ourselves, we're not asking that question because we are ourselves, you know. So we're not thinking about what someone may be thinking of us because we're by ourselves. We're alone. No one is around. And so I started thinking about the whole close your eyes aspect, and how in life I think that we need to start living our life with our life with our eyes closed, and see how that makes a big difference in our life. And so while I was watching Sarah Jakes Robert message, she was like, you know how you could be talking and say someone gets emotional and they start to cry, and so you're there and you don't want to cry, so you start fanning your eyes, like, because you're trying to stop yourself from crying, or like you like holding back your tears, you like all these different things to not cry, to not let out your emotions. But you realize that when you close your eyes, the tears come down, everything, just the whole wall just falls down, because when you're closing your eyes, you're not thinking about anything else. You're just one with yourself, and you give yourself the permission to be just you. And if that means crying, that means crying. Then if that means singing your heart out, whatever it is. But when you close your eyes, you become one with yourself, and you're able to not think about anything else that's going on. And I started to realize that I have a hard time with closing my eyes, and not in just this type of aspect of like crying or whatever the case could be, but just with normal things. Like in yoga, you have to close your eyes at the end sometimes, and I'm like, why is it so hard for me to close my eyes? Is it because like I don't trust what's going on? Is it because I'm just a nosy person? Like, what is it that's forcing me to not be able to close my eyes and just be okay? And the thing is, because sometimes I don't want to think about certain stuff. Like, if we be honest, when you close your eyes, it forces you to start thinking about everything. Things that we put on the back burner that we don't want to think about, that we don't want to talk about, that we don't want to bring up. But when your eyes is closed, all of that starts to come in the forefront, because it did not ever go away. It's there. You've been pushing it and pushing it back. But when your eyes is closed, it's all right there in front of you. You can see it now. That's the only visual thing that is right there for you to see. And so it forces you to have to either confront it, deal with it, talk about it, realize that it's still there. There's so many things that you have to now understand or break down because you close your eyes. And we should not be afraid of that. We should not be scared of that, because until we deal with it, it's always going to be there regardless. It's always going to be right there, no matter how much we try to push it to the back. And so I want us to start to close our eyes in life, because I want us to be able to give ourselves that permission to be able to let go and just be. Let go and be just you, whatever you consist of. And I was like, wow, I don't do that in yoga. I try to stop from thinking about certain things. Or, you know, I be opening my eye like, are we done yet? And that even comes to in therapy. Like, sometimes we could be talking and my therapist will be like, you know, let's do this exercise. Let's close your eyes. And she says like different things. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about that. And y'all, I'll be there like therapy when she asked me to like close my eyes and everything. I'm like, and she started talking about to think about certain things. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'll be thinking like, okay, when we about to be done with this? Are we done with this yet? Like, why do I have to have my eyes closed? And that's still me trying to avoid the conversation, avoid the emotion, avoid the thoughts. And so you have to like really be okay and in tune with yourself to be able to close your eyes and let whatever happens happen. And I just was like, I think that is so powerful with us closing our eyes, because we're able to be free in life and we're able to live life without the thought of what someone else may think of us. And how often in life we are so not pretending, but we're so afraid or so self-conscious of what someone else may think of us, that we don't give ourselves that freedom to be able to be ourselves. And freedom, free is in freedom, meaning that we should be free in what we're doing. Be free of who you are. And I think that in life, if we all just walked around just, you know, with our eyes closed, not necessarily our eyes closed, guys, but with our eyes closed, or the thought of everyone have their eyes closed, how free everyone will be. How not concerned we are of what someone may think of us, or concerned of the other person, of what they may be doing. You know, we are okay because we are able to have our eyes closed. And there was something else, guys, that I wanted to discuss about this, because I think that with our eyes closed and us being one with ourselves, or being one with who you are, that we are okay with showing our vulnerable side, a side that maybe people don't often see of us, or often see at all of who we are. And I think that that's something that I know personally that I kind of stay away from. And not necessarily because I don't want nobody to know that I'm vulnerable or like emotional or anything like that, but there's so many thoughts, like we've been saying, that comes along with it. And I just want us to be able to not think of that. And while we are going through this week, or whenever you may be listening to this podcast, I want you to just take the time out to close your eyes and allow whatever thought to come right in the front, and to write it down. Write down all the thoughts that are coming, because these are things that have been sitting there waiting for you to confront. Or if you get unfocused so fast, to not even write it down, to just let it be. Just close your eyes and allow whatever happens to happen. And once that happens and it comes up, then you open up your eyes and think about how you feel. Think about how you feel on the inside, because this is all inside work. It's nothing on the outside. No one else can do this for you. No one else can teach you how to close your eyes and be okay with yourself, and be one with who you are, and be okay with your thoughts and emotions. No one can teach you this. This is something that you have to step out on your own, step outside of yourself, and get in the inside of who you are, deep down, and be okay with allowing everything to come up, and allowing yourself that permission to close your eyes and be okay with whatever happens. And so that is basically my message, or my podcast topic is us closing our eyes and how sometimes. All right, before we continue with our conversation, make sure to follow me on my personal social media accounts to stay updated on what I am doing. You can follow me on Instagram at _KiaZ, _KIAAAZ. You can follow me on Facebook at Kia Brewer. You can follow me on Snapchat at FabulousKia_4 and on TikTok at Zakia Brewer. Okay, so where did we leave off at? And so that's the message, is just that closing our eyes and seeing how that changes a lot in who we are, changes a lot in our life, and how we have realized, and how I have realized, that we've been living a life of thinking or living for other people, and how with your eyes closed you are able to live with yourself. You're able to be okay with yourself. You're able to be okay with the feelings and thoughts and emotions that may come upon yourself. And it's something that needs to be done. It's something that has to be worked out. And this is coming from someone who's learning this. I'm not an expert. Like I said, I still struggle just with the small things of like yoga or therapy or whatever the case is that sometimes I struggle and I'm like, I don't want to have to deal with this, or I don't want to have to think about this. But know this, and I could put this on me, okay? That when you close your eyes and you allow this to truly happen, y'all, for real, you really do feel like it just left your shoulders. Like, you're not carrying it on your shoulders anymore. You feel a relief in your body because you allowed it to just flow right off. And you don't have to tell nobody. You don't have to talk about it. It's just you in the room. It's just you by yourself. You're able to close your eyes and you're able to just let it be. And then it's also a message of when you're around people as well. Allow yourself to just close your eyes and imagine you are in a room by yourself. And so if you feel like being the silly you that you are alone, but you don't want everybody to know, close your eyes and just be like, let me just be me. Let me just be me. And whoever doesn't like it, bye. And whoever will, they'll still be there. They'll still be there, I promise. So that is basically the end of my episode about closing your eyes, be with yourself, be one with who you are, and be okay with it, guys. So I do not have an inspirational quote or a question for this week. I will ask different questions on my social media, so please make sure that you are following me on all of my social media platforms, because I will be asking different questions. But I don't have anything in particular for this episode. What I want you to do is to be able to just live your life with your eyes closed. So try that this week. Try that whenever you listen to this podcast, whenever you're thinking about this episode, to close your eyes and be with yourself. So thank you. See you in my next episode, guys. I love talking to you all, my Kia Bia gang. I love you, and bye. Hey, don't leave me hanging. Before you leave, make sure to subscribe to Zakia Chanel Podcast. You can listen to my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Or go over to Zakia Chanel TV on YouTube to listen and watch the podcast. Looking for someone to host your event, or want to learn how to start your own podcast, or need organizing tips? I'm your girl. Contact me via email. Remember, it starts with you. Be blessed and take care of yourself.